give time and space another dimension. Fragrances that evoke a time capsule and can be relived time after time. Hi, I'm Gabrielle, and welcome to another edition of the Fragrantician, where I talk about perfumes and scents, and I come from a different angle, an unconventional angle, if you will. If you like vintage film, vintage cinema, a story behind a scent, or you just love perfume, you've come to the right channel. So in today's perfume scent journey, I'm talking about time after time and scenting, the film, starring Mary Steenburgen, Malcolm McDowell, and also David Warner. So these are the main characters of the film. If you've not seen it, I won't give any spoilers away, but pause this, go and watch the film if you have it. It is available to stream. Or if you have it yourself, then watch it and then come back. So go on then. I'll be waiting because I have all the time in the world. So this film depicts a Victorian era in the early 1890s versus the modern era of the time, which was then 1979, so nearly 100 years later. If you've seen The Time Machine, then you'll know that film from 1960. This is nothing like that. It's a different take on it, where Malcolm McDowell, who plays Herbert H.G. Wells, travels to chase Jack the Ripper. Yes, we find out who Jack the Ripper is because he has stolen his time machine. So he goes. Somehow he sees it and he's able to use it. Somehow the time machine comes back. So he goes and he ends up in, of all places, San Francisco in 1979. San Francisco is a very diverse city, I know. Even for then it was, where he finds Mary Steenburgen, or Steenburgen, I don't know how you pronounce it, who becomes his love interest. She's appeared in many films. Dead of Night is another good film I like her in. A long-forgotten film. If you've seen that, please comment down below. She was also in one of the Back to the Futures Part 3, I do believe. So, he finds Jack the Ripper, and him and this bank teller, who is played by Mary Steenburgen, tries to thwart him, and in the process, he opens up to her. There is this scene where him and her, she's a very independent woman, lives on her own terms. And like H.G. Wells, he was I suppose the word isn't maybe an activist. He was quite somebody of the future. He actually did predict wars. He did predict social struggles, women's liberation, and I'm pretty sure he would be pro-LGBTQ. LGBTQ plus, by the way. So Time After Time is this beautiful little film, filmed entirely in San Francisco and of course in studios as well. And together, him and Amy, her name is Amy, they find Jack the Ripper, but do they actually catch him? I'm not going to tell you any spoilers, but the ending is quite different, and I wasn't expecting the ending to be like that, because it shows H.G. Wells in his story in a museum in San Francisco at the time, where his time machine is. And he tries to prove to Amy who he is while trying to catch this modern day Jack the Ripper. There is a phrase actually that Malcolm McDowell says, and I can't really paraphrase it, but it's along the lines of man has no business to be able to resolve issues with violence, which is you have to watch the film. It's quite a profound statement because he is anti-violent, anti-guns. It is a pretty good watch to watch. And I think of the time, the contrast of this Victorian era, that he's dressed in this Victorian suit. And then he finds Amy, this independent woman. Who does she end up with him? Does she go back in time with him? Do they go forward in time? Or do they stay in the present? I won't say any more. I'll let you watch the film. The cinematography is beautiful. You get a full overview of San Francisco and the characters really develop. You feel invested in the characters. Actually, I feel very invested within H.G. love interest, Amy Robbins, I think her name is. She is quite a feisty lady. So on that note, shall we scent the vibe of the film? So this is L'air du temps by Nina Ricci, and it came out just after World War II with the Doves of Peace, the top here. This is a very dreamy carnation scent. L'air du temps actually has been many a signature scent for celebrities, including Carrie Fisher. Of all names, would you believe? This depicts peace, it depicts tranquility, it depicts an air of grace about it. And I think that L'air du temps fits very perfectly with a time capsule fragrance. The bottle is very beautiful. I just have a very small bottle here, 30ml bottle. That's all I need. It's a very comforting scent, actually. The carnation isn't too spicy, and the woodiness and the musk and the florals it's a woody floral musk. It just brings it all into play. Very seamless, very timeless. I think at the time it signified when the world was coming together and learning, trying to cope with the aftermath of World War II. We can remember the veterans, but I think what's most important is to remember that we never go back to a time like that again. If only. We should remember that, and we should have hope and grasp onto that. And I feel this scent does this perfectly. Nina Ricci. Now, in contrast to that, going back in time before 1947, let's go to 1912, to L'Herbe, which I've talked about before because it was my grandmother's signature. This came out just before the First World War. Again, it was a time when it signified peace, calm, tranquility, an Edwardian era where life in some aspects were very difficult, but in some aspects were much more simpler. No Wi-Fi, no distractions, no social media, nothing like that at all. The blue hour, dusk is falling. A love interest maybe is sparking in the air, walking along a canal, walking along a lake, as it's just falling into dusk. That bluish hour, that bluish, dusky hour, powdery, violet, iris. To some, old-fashioned, to others, timeless, and to others, just a fragrance that is in a time capsule of its own. Therefore, it is a timeless fragrance. It's a beautiful stunner. This is a reformulated version, which I'm happy with. And I think Blue Hour by Guerlain is one of those fragrances that can be a little bit haunting, a little bit sad, but at the same time, you're feeling everything, yet you're feeling nothing, if you get my meaning. It's that type of scent. Blue Hour. I have the board here by TRNP Fragrances, and I'll tell you why I have this. This is a bawdy scent. Tuberose galore, this scent. And tuberose in Victorian times depicted harlots, depicted trollops, depicted prostitutes, depicted women of the night. So it's very apt for that era in the Victorian time when Jack the Ripper was preying upon prostitutes. I think this is a very bawdy scent, and it's punchy, it's loud, it's vocal, it's outspoken. It's a scent that beckons and beguiles and then draws you in and it snatches you. Yes, this is what the board does. It's very much of a mist. It's, wow, it smells like nothing else that I've ever had in my collection. And I think if you like carnal flower, you may well like this. But even this, I think, is on that same level as Carnal Flower and Fracas by Robert Piguet. I have no idea what the other notes are in this scent, and I do not really wish to know. All I know is that it has that tuberose running through, that indolic white floral that is just abundance. So the board is an abundant scent. This is death and decay. This may represent death, but there are new beginnings. And I think with time after time the film, there's these transitions where there are a lot of new beginnings in the film because it's one of those fragrances that has yellow florals, and it also has lily, but not lily in the scent of the note of lily. It is like it is such as a fragrance that they have formulated to mimic this kind of lily feeling. Death and decay sounds quite horrid, doesn't it? But actually, it can be quite beautiful when worn, because again, it has this feeling of nothing but everything. I love that. Sometimes you just don't want to feel nothing, but feel everything at the same time. And it can be comforting and soothing somehow. Don't ask me why. I find that in meditation, feeling nothing and feeling everything. And it brings peace. And this, if you don't like florals, you may not like this, but this has a little bit of nuttiness in it. Tiny little bit of almond feeling running through it. It's pretty, it's demure, it's not too loud, but it will still get you noticed. It has moderate projection. So Death and Decay is one of those that could be Victorian Gothic, but also could be modern day era Gothic. And will it decay on you? Absolutely not. I could not go without Elizabeth Taylor White Diamonds. This is the Pure Perfume. It is one of those fragrances that was a love at first sniff, and the Pure Perfume is potent with a capital P. It's yellow florals, it's woodiness, it's everything that you crave for and everything that some of you will absolutely run away from. It's polarizing. It was one of the first celebrity scents out there, really. And every purchase of Elizabeth Taylor fragrances does go to the AIDS charity, which I think is really good, because Elizabeth Taylor was such a strong advocate for the LGBTQ following. She was quite an activist in it in her later years. Love her or loathe her, Elizabeth Taylor was an enigma. She she didn't really overcome her addictions. She somehow learned to live with them. And she loved Richard Taylor so much that they got married twice. He was, I think, the love of her life at that time, although her second husband did die in a plane crash. And she did marry one of her best friend's husbands as well. But that was the type of person who was Debbie Reynolds, one of her friend's husbands. But that Eddie Fisher. So she was that type of lady. This does represent opulence and a classic perfumery. Is one of a kind. I don't think you could really mimic this in any other way, shape or form. It's loud. It's a time capsule scent. And I think this transcends time. This, although this is now 34 years old, not this bottle, but when it came out, it will go hopefully for another 34 years. And let's pass it on to the next generation to discover, rather than the whole mass of gourmand fragrances, not all, but some, all of the fragrances that smell like lemmings, that smell like they are all the same. Why be generic when you can be timeless? And lastly, I think this fragrance can be worn by a man or a woman, or by somebody. This is Donna Karen Gold, Eau de Parfum, which I've used a little fair bit already. This, in my opinion, is one of the best spicy lily forward scents. It is, I wore this about a week ago and I got complimented by 3 people. Not that I was fishing for compliments. I'm an oversprayer. So I did spray about 8 to 10 sprays of this. And boy, did it make an impression. This is a little bit of an independence in a bottle. I feel that Amy, played by Mary Steenburgen, could easily wear this, whether it was Victorian times or whether it was 1979, although it came out after. I was going to go with this or I was going to go with Oscar de la Renta. It was a hard choice, but I ended up with this. It has this black hemlock note in as well, whatever that is. But it sings. It's a fragrance that dances. It dances off the skin. If this was a dance, it would be... what would it be? It would be actually a waltz. I think this would be a waltz. It's a waltz of white florals and spiciness and love and anticipation, just like Amy and Herbert in Time After Time. So if you like a lily spiced forward scent that has been discontinued, but you can still get it if you look on the grey market, then go for the Eau de Parfum Donna Karen Gold. Liquid nectar, love potion, happiness, joy, feeling everything and nothing. This scent really does uplift you. So those were my 5 fragrances plus that honorary mention at the end, Donna Karen Gold. What are yours? Have you seen Time After Time? Have you not heard of it? It is one of those films that over 40 years later still captures the imagination, still draws in a new generation. So you've been watching another edition of The Fragrantician. I'm Gabrielle, and I tell scent stories. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.